Happy Yule, dear Stardust. In today's video, I want to share with you how I celebrated Winter Solstice this year in 2024. It's a very simple and personal sun honoring ritual that I did with a mirror for the purpose of magical workings. And I will share that with you in this upcoming video. So before we get started, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'm still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can be part of that YouTube partnership program. And I am still dedicated to create interesting and insightful metaphysical videos for you, my dear Stardust. So liking this video or subbing would be ever so greatly appreciated. Winter Solstice is the shortest day and the longest night of the year. Now, these celebrations have been done throughout antiquity from all corners of the world. And it's really an honoring of the return of the sun. Now, depending on your spiritual philosophy, it's going to have different meanings. But overall, the common theme is definitely rebirth, renewal, and transformation, and the welcoming back of the light. So in Winter Solstice night on December the 21st, I'm in Canada. It's the northern hemisphere. That's when Winter Solstice is at. It will be different on the calendar if you are in the southern hemisphere. It is the conquering of the darkness, the dark night of the soul, and then alchemizing and revitalizing yourself back to the light, or welcoming the essence and the energy and the vitality of the sun, the lights that is to come. So this can be for many different purposes, depending on what type of pagan you are. But what I've done is I focused on the sun and a very simple mirror ritual. So at sunrise, doing a light meditation and kind of going on my balcony and basking in the sunrise. And then at midday, going outside again and taking my mirror and going to the tree and doing my charging, and then again basking in the sun at midday. And then at sunset, which is around 4:45 p.m. Here in Canada where I'm at, going back out on my balcony because I live in an apartment, and kind of just contemplating like the sun setting down. So this for me was very solar. It was very focused on the sun, the cycles, the time, and the different phases of the sun. Now tonight, because it's winter solstice at night, so at midnight and throughout the night, I'm going to stay up late, and it's to contemplate that dark time of the year. And many people manifest this in many different ways. It could be the dark night of the soul, it could be shadow work, it could be an honoring of your ancestors, of different deities or spirits, or whatever craft that you participate in. You can manifest different aspects. There is definitely a little bit of magic in the air, I find, at winter solstice, Yule, and I personally am going to be focusing this year on the sun energy, and then later tonight I'm going to be focusing on the moon energy and the dark time of the year. But this video is focused on what I'm doing with the sun. So what I've done is I've contemplated the sun goddess Saulė, or Soul, and I really kind of like focused on the sun as a feminine figure, which is really interesting because most magical practitioners or people in the craft view the moon as the divine feminine and the sun as the divine masculine. It's interesting because in Norse mythology, Saul and Mani were sister and brother, and Saul is the sun as a feminine and Mani is the masculine in the moon. So I did an experiment and did a reversal in my alchemical practice of what would it feel like when the sun is feminine as a solar goddess, and what does it feel like for the moon to be masculine. Everything has both masculine and feminine counterparts in the alchemical process. So I was kind of like playing with this in my light meditations and contemplations throughout the day, focusing on the solar goddess energy. Before I show you some short footage of what I did outside, I want to take a moment to look and to hear this passage from this amazing book called Drawing Down the Sun by Stephanie Woodfield. And we're going to listen to how mirrors have been played in relationship with solar goddesses and how to maybe use mirrors in magical workings. And we're going to touch a little bit on that, so you have a little bit of a background information of why I've used a mirror in this particular instance.
The mirror and the eye. Both the sun and moon are often described as the eyes of certain deities, and eye motifs play a large role in the myths of the feminine sun. Sometimes she is described as an actual eye, as with Bast, Sekhmet, and Hathor, who were all given the title Eye of Ra or Eye of the Sun. The Celtic goddess Saul's name also meant eye. Many of the sun goddesses' myths revolve around her either plucking out her own eyes or being born from a supreme god washing his eyes. In the Celtic tradition, the solar goddesses usually have the ability to cure blindness or have sacred wells dedicated to them that were attributed with the ability to cure eye ailments. As the celestial eye, the sun goddess was all-seeing. She saw all that happened in the world below, making the sun goddess the perfect deity to be invoked to uncover those responsible for wrongdoing and for finding lost objects, cattle, or even lovers for those who were lonely. From her position in the sky, it was presumed she would be able to see who committed any wrongdoing. The sun performed these tasks not only for her earthly petitioners but for the other gods as well, usually being sent to punish those who had offended the gods. The sun's ability to see all was usually enhanced with a magical mirror. In Christianized Slavic folklore, the sun was a mirror into which God gazed each day to see the sins committed on the earth below. The reflection of his glory made the sun too bright to gaze upon. Originally in Slavic mythology, the sun was female and the moon her husband. Despite later folklore disregarding the female sun, the connection between sun and mirror remained. Similarly, the Altai sun goddess 𝑘huin saw everything that occurred on the world below, which was reflected in the mirror of the sun. Both mirrors and sacred wells were used to represent the sun's eye. Mirrors reflected the sun's light, as did the waters of sacred wells. Their circular shapes resembled the shape of the sun, and when the sun's light shone on them, they became in a sense sacred eyes themselves, reflecting the sun's radiant light and becoming vessels of the sun's healing power. In Ireland it was traditional to go to the top of a hill on Easter Sunday when the sun was said to dance in the sky. A mirror or a bucket of water was used to see her dance, to observe the sun's reflection. This is obviously a carryover from an older pagan tradition, linking the sun and the mirror. Pools of water were arguably the first mirrors, reflecting both the sun and our own reflections, which may be why both have become so ingrained with the solar feminine mythos. In Egypt, mirrors were especially sacred to the solar feminine. Ritual mirrors were used to reflect the light of the morning sun into the temple where Hathor's statue stood. In the Shinto religion, mirrors are used to represent the sun goddess instead of a statue. In Central Asia, mirrors were connected to the sun goddess 𝑘huin and were used to decorate the costumes worn by shamans in healing rituals. Sickness was considered to be caused by pieces of a person's soul being stolen or lost in the otherworlds, and the shaman was believed to be able to retrieve these missing parts of the soul using a mirror, just as the mirror captures the light of the sun. Let's look into the mirror a little more, shall we? As we have already discussed, the mirror appears in the myths of several sun goddesses. As a symbol, the mirror was used to represent the sun goddess herself. In most religions, a deity is represented by a statue portraying that god or goddess's likeness. The mirror is unique in the fact that it is used in place of a statue to represent the goddess. In Shinto shrines, mirrors are worshipped as if they were the solar goddess herself. They are her earthy representations. According to Patricia Monahan, the first polished metal mirrors were fashioned to echo the shape and brilliance of the sun's disk. Mirrors were invented as a ritual sun trap to bring the sun goddess to earth, for if the image is the essence, the sunshine in the mirror is the goddess herself. Monahan also points out that it would have been easier for ancient smiths to create square mirrors, yet the vast majority of early mirrors were circular, reflecting the shape of the sun.
Now I would like to show you the footage. Now, it is December 21st, 2024. I live in Ontario, Canada, and it is extremely cold. I was not able to stay outside for long periods of time as much as I would have liked to. So during midday, I went outside and I needed to charge my mirror. So I went to a local pine tree and I placed the mirror at the foot of the tree. I tried to go into contemplation, meditation, and then I invoked the sun goddess. And here is an example of the invocation that I said. Sunna, soul, mother sun amber, weeping goddess across the sky, you ride each day in your golden chariot, attended by your daughters. As the sun sets beyond the horizon, you make your bed in the branches of the apple trees. Your sacred serpents twine around your arms. In your swan-drawn boat, you pass through the underworld to begin a new day. Your warmth brings life and light to the world. Your spirit shines with radiance. You who are the mother of all life, the earth, your eldest daughters, and the stars, your innumerable children. Cast your loving gaze upon me, O Mother Sun. Comfort me in my times of sorrow. Fill me with strength in times of need. Charge this mirror with your light, that its warmth and glory be reflected onto it, and then onto my eyes, always maintaining your light. Hail Sunna, soul. So that is the invocation that I did. I stayed outside for as long as I could, and I allowed the sun to beam down on my third eye and on my crown chakra, and I charged my mirror and I tried to harness that energy, basically encapsulating that magical light in the mirror, so I could have that light in any future magical practice. So before I explain what I'm going to be doing with this mirror, I just want you to hear that. So when we look at the solar goddess, you can look at it through different perspectives: Celtic, Irish paganism, North paganism, different maybe European traditions, Baltic mythology. It depends on which region you want to go to. I kind of went with what I felt was comfortable. I do like using Sunna, and I do like using Soul, but it comes from different regions. So because I'm a stickler for history, please take a listen at some of the origins of Soul.
Mother Saulė is a significant goddess in Baltic mythology, particularly among the Latvian and Lithuanian peoples. She is revered as the goddess of the sun, life, fertility, and well-being. Saulė is a nurturing and protective figure, often associated with light, warmth, and the cycles of nature. Attributes and symbolism. Sun goddess, Saulė rides across the sky in a chariot drawn by horses or sails in a golden boat, bringing light to the world. Life giver, she is connected to growth, fertility, and the sustenance of all living things. Protector, SAULE is seen as a guardian of the downtrodden and a defender of orphans and the oppressed. Symbolism, she represents the cycles of life, death, and renewal, as well as the passage of time through the day and seasons. Role in solstice traditions. SAULE is celebrated during the winter solstice in Baltic paganism. This marks the sun's rebirth and the promise of longer days and renewed vitality. Customs, lighting fires and candles to honor SAULE, singing hymns, and feasting are common practices to invoke her blessings and ensure the return of warmth and light. Family and connections. In mythology, SAULE interacts with other celestial deities. She is sometimes depicted in stories with her daughters, the 𝒂𝓁, who personify aspects of nature and beauty. SAULE's veneration highlights the deep connection between the sun's cycles and the agricultural, spiritual, and social lives of ancient Baltic peoples.
Now, after charging my mirror and encapsulating the solar goddess energy, I'm going to use that mirror for myself for different magical workings. It could be for divination, it could be for charging, it could also be for cleansing, definitely if you need a boost of energy. But for me, with the mirror, it's more of a reminder and reflection and a bit of a talisman that whenever things in my life get too dark or too negative, I can look in this mirror and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is always tomorrow. There's always a solution, and there's always the divine spark and divine knowledge and wisdom and divinity and connection within. It's to remind me of my divine, my divinity and my divine spark within, and my connection to what I feel is my connection with spirit. And I use the manifestation of the solar goddess energy. Just to conclude, when it comes to the Christmas season and the Christianized version of the holiday, just a quick note, I've never really resonated with Christmas. When I was very young, I never believed in Santa, and there's been a lot of different phases in my life to which the holiday season has never really sparked much enthusiasm and joy. But I'm very grateful for the life that I have. I have an amazing husband, an amazing life, an amazing relationship with my mother, and I take gratitude with the connections that I have. But since I've focused more in recent years on magical consciousness, it is a most amazing connection when you finally escape this commercialized matrix of what Christmas is. It's not about all the stuff that we see in modern society. It is more in getting your body in the rhythms and cycles of nature, of the celestial aspects, the stars, the galaxies, the planets, the sun, the moon. And it hopefully will tie you or bring back a remembrance of your bloodline, of your ancestors, and or the gods and the goddesses that want to work with you. It can be an amazing time to reconnect with aspects of yourself that are not commercialized by what Christmas has turned out to be. And focusing on the sun can be something that's usually left out. There's so many types of witchcraft, paganism, rituals out there during this time. People do the Yule log, people do different types of ceremonies, different types of honorings. But really looking at the sun as a goddess, as a feminine aspect, is something that I really enjoyed connecting to, and I hope that this video has maybe sparked some type of divine feminine light within you. Now it's time for you to tell me stuff. How do you celebrate Yule and Winter Solstice? Do you have a spell or ritual that you would like to share that has helped you? Please leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. With that said, remember, dear Stardust, everything you're searching for is already within you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, planet people,